So let's begin by settling the body, adopting a stable, comfortable, upright position, serviceable for meditation. So we think about keeping our feet flat and our back straight, torso open. Hands in the lap, right over left, with the palms upturned and the thumbs gently touching. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open, making sure we let in enough light to remain alert. Try to maintain an awareness of not slouching, not leaning, but we also let go of any unnecessary tension or rigidity in the body, relaxing into a stable, comfortable, upright position. Just allowing the body to fall into place. And we begin to let go of attending to the outside world, allowing sights and sounds to be as they are, without investigation constraining our awareness just to the body and mind. I begin to concentrate that awareness in the present by attending closely to the physical sensation of the air as it moves into and back out of the tip of the nostrils. Giving ourselves the instruction to notice quickly when anything other than that one physical sensation is arising in the mind, and then without judgment or frustration to lift our awareness up from those distractions and to place it gently but firmly again and again on the breath. And then when the mind feels more calm, we'll generate a broad altruistic motivation for our time. So we take a moment to get in touch with our own genuine wish to be happy, to be completely free of suffering, recognizing that this is what drives us. From the moment that we wake up, from the moment that we go to sleep, and even with the dreams that we have. This is the baseline state that we find ourselves in. We recognize that so too does every other sentient being. There are no sentient beings who are not similarly motivated. For each sentient being, they feel each moment of suffering just as sharply as we do. And they strive for each moment of happiness just as ardently as we do. Every sentient being is placing themselves in the center of their own story. And every sentient being has an equal claim to being happy, to being free of suffering. And so the most beneficial way of using this life of leisure and endowment, is not to work for only one's own happiness, but to try to work for the benefit of every sentient being. Which in turn depends upon the content of our mind. Whether we are genuinely familiar with the states, the mental states, that support those sorts of beneficial activities, naturally, spontaneously, and whether we've genuinely cleared away the obstacles in the mind to being able to engage in those beneficial activities. So the purpose of our time is that process of genuine inner transformation, so that we become truly beneficial for sentient beings. And then with that motivation, we'll continue to contemplate these 8 verses of thought transformation. Verse 5, when others out of jealousy mistreat me with abuse, insults, and the like, I will practice accepting defeat and offering the victory to them. When others out of jealousy mistreat me with abuse, insults, and the like, I will practice accepting defeat and offering the victory to them. So with this verse, we work with the impulse in our minds to get the last word, to always be right. The need to always defend our ego, to retaliate, often giving in to the arising of anger in the mind. And this is the direct result of the primacy of the mind of self-cherishing, the mind that places our own happiness above those of all others. So we're eventually trying to cultivate the mind that doesn't need to be right, doesn't need to defend itself. So think back over the past few weeks. Think of a time when you felt you were on the receiving end of an unkind word or deed, when you were criticized, insulted, and you felt it was done unfairly. And notice in the body and the mind at that time that sense of separateness that arose, that strong sense that something was happening to oneself, the sense of a threat. That sense of a real, findable ego identity that was being attacked. See how that arose so strongly, so clearly at that moment. And try to identify what it is that you think was being threatened. What in that moment did you have trouble letting go of? Was it your reputation? Your characterization of yourself as someone who didn't make a mistake? Your desire to be liked? What was the object of your grasping? And then just play around with the idea of being able to let go of that attachment. What would it have been like to offer the victory to them? To not add any more fuel to that disagreement, that encounter. Try to practice being free of that small harm, of that strong clinging, that strong need to be right, to win. And then we'll move on to verse 6. Even if someone I have benefited and in whom I have placed great hopes hurts me very badly, I will practice seeing that one as my sublime teacher. Even if someone I have benefited and in whom I have placed great hopes hurts me very badly, I will practice seeing that one as my sublime teacher. So with this verse, we are working with the expectations that we put upon others. We often feel that people owe us, particularly if we have worked to benefit them. We carry this expectation that they will return that kindness to us. And so when we are disappointed in this scenario, it's one of the more painful kinds of disappointments. when we feel as though we have put time and energy and effort into benefiting someone and they reciprocate with something that seems harmful. Generally, that person is quite close to us. And so we feel a sense of betrayal, which is much more painful than coming from a stranger. Which in turn can lead to strong anger, a strong wish to retaliate. So we're asked to investigate the nature of our love, our compassion. Is it conditional? When we acted to benefit this person, it was out of a sense of love and compassion, but were there strings attached? How often do we expect that the giving of our love and compassion needs to be reciprocated with love and compassion? And how often can we engage in those behaviors without expectation of any kind? So again, look back over the past few months and you're interacting with your friends, your family. Try to think of times when these sorts of disappointments emerged. And perhaps your response was not entirely skillful. But recognize that these were and are opportunities to identify the conditionality of your own love, your own compassion, the limits with which you are familiar with unconditional love, unconditional compassion. And that's valuable information if we wish to grow that love and that compassion into being truly unconditional. So if you identify your response in these situations as labeling the other as the enemy, even in just that moment, try to label that person as the teacher, showing you the limits of your love and compassion, its conditional nature. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And we'll dedicate. So recollect your altruistic motivation and think that by having engaged in this contemplation, you have actualized that motivation, which has generated positive energy in your mind. And think that you freely offer the fruit of your practice, that positive energy, for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception. Thinking strongly, when this positive energy ripens, may it serve as a cause and condition to eliminate war and conflict, poverty, famine, disease, disasters, all painful inner and outer conditions. May it fully ripen the minds of all sentient beings. May they quickly meet perfect teachers and arise in the state of full enlightenment. May I too achieve the state of enlightenment so that I might work for the benefit of all sentient beings perfectly. May any obstacles facing the Guru's long life be completely dispelled. May I and all sentient beings in this moment come under the joyful care and guidance of enlightened beings. May we be guided and protected until we swiftly achieve that state of enlightenment. Thank you.